Hey, everybody, and welcome in to another episode of Vox and Jed Fight About It. It's, we're like, oh man, I keep trying to open these with the episode numbers, but we're here with Jed, obviously, and Abenz is our first guest since guest month. Hello, Abenz.
It is episode 28, this episode.
28?
Pretty hyped about it. We're almost at 30. We're almost at 30. We're well past the halfway point. Which is pretty exciting.
The second half of our first year of Fight About It.
Congratulations!
Yeah. But we've got Abenz here, and that's pretty exciting because we don't hang out with Abenz as much as we would like to. But Abenz watched the show a lot, so we've wanted to have Abenz on for a while now. So yeah, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, give the people a little piece of what's going on in the world of Abenz.
Hi everybody, I'm Abenz. I've been making content for about 4 years now. I'm on Willow SMP, I'm on a bunch of other projects as well. I do editing, I do law stuff, I do whatever people want of me. I'm the British person in Willow SMP. I'm also apparently the old person. That's my job. Yes.
Oh yeah?
It's a pleasure.
Can we ask how old you are?
British?
I'm not even that old, I'm 22. Like, I'm
22. That's not old. Vox is older than that.
But everyone calls me old and like a grandpa in everyone's eyes for some reason.
Well, I guess here's the question, and this is kind of jumping forward a little bit, but this is gonna kind of tell Vox and I if you're old or not. Who inspired you to start doing content creation? Just like
oh man,
anybody in
my
particular?
my first YouTube watching was like Yogscast. Back in like the alpha days.
Okay, yeah, you're old.
Yeah, you're old like us. Okay.
We make a joke about it because there are a lot of people who are like, "Oh yeah, the Dream SMP" or things like that, and it's like, dude, that's y'all are young. I can't believe this shit.
On baby mode right now.
That's rough.
But yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you're an old British guy. You sound like Doctor Who. Are you Doctor Who?
I wish.
You wish?
Dude, I feel like that if British people could be considered a race, I feel like that would be racist.
Is it? It might be.
I feel like that sounds like the most ignorant thing you could possibly say to just a random British person. Just, are you Doctor Who? You know, like, what are you doing, dude?
Funny, old British person who does random shit at any time.
We are getting closer to new Doctor Who though, which I'm excited about.
We are.
Ooh,
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I think like the teeth thing would be worse. Like if you're to do like the whole like teeth stuff.
Oh yeah, the like teeth thing. Yeah, that would be a worse stereotype, I think.
I've been like Doctor Who brained lately. I've been watching through the 11th Doctor with my mom, but
oh my gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, so you're a content creator. You do a lot of lore on Willow. You stream, right?
Yes. I stream. I sometimes stream on YouTube, but mostly just on Twitch. And I have uploaded YouTube stuff and TikTok stuff. I'm kind of just like, I like to experiment around, and my ADHD brain kind of like can't really stick to one thing for too long. So if you look back at all my accounts, you'll see like little spatters of me like trying content and then just give it up.
That's a good time. It's always fun.
Absolutely. I can't help but I couldn't help but notice I was doing some research trying to write down questions for this episode that would be more specific to you, and it's just like it is impossible to find any like information on who you are and what you do through your social media. At least anything recent, because it's like I was snooping around and it's like, oh man, I see that they stream, obviously we knew that. But like I was like, okay, maybe they're Tumblr. No, nothing newer than like a year over there. Okay, well, what about YouTube? Same situation.
Yeah, well, I can try and explain that a little bit. So,
could you?
The last 4 years of like content, because I started in lockdown, as like most streamers did, and the 4 years since then has also been the 4 years of me going to uni and finishing uni. So every time an exam comes up or anything like that, I have to stop content and lose all momentum in content to focus on exam stuff. So I haven't really been able to like stick to much, which has been kind of annoying. But yeah, that
that's
combined with
unfortunate.
that combined with ADHD has been rough for consistency.
Yeah.
Imagine going to college.
Yeah.
But
what specifically got you interested in streaming this branch of content that you're trying, I guess?
Yeah. So the first year that I did streaming, I just kind of did variety stuff because I was just like streaming to my friends because obviously it was lockdown and no one had anything better to do. So I was just like playing games with my friends and like it did pretty well actually. Like obviously streaming in lockdown, everyone was watching, so I got viewers and like fans and stuff like that. But the switch to Minecraft was maybe like late 2020, early 2021. And I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of because of Dream SMP. But also I had another friend who was getting into the space, and I was like, "What you're doing looks cool. Sure, I'll hang out." And then I found an SMP, and things went from there.
Yeah, that's great. What SMP did you first get into?
So when I was like first looking at like Minecraft Twitter, like small streamer Minecraft Twitter, there was an SMP called Earthbound SMP, which you might have heard of.
Oh, I know that one.
It was hosted by a man who's been recently cancelled on Twitter, so I won't dwell on it for too long.
Unfortunate.
But I didn't get onto that SMP.
Cycle.
But as I was a new creator, I was kind of like what's the word? I was hopeful. So I was like, oh, I'll join the Discord and I'll chat in the Discord. And if I chat in Discord, they'll surely invite me to the SMP, right? That's how that works. But I ended up making like a whole group of friends in the Discord. And when none of us got invited to the SMP because they only invited like big creators, we ended up just making our own little project called Nighttime SMP, which I started in like November 2020, and I still talk to a lot of people to this day. They are a good group of people, and it was fun. It was very like kind of cringe Dream SMP inside because I was like Dream SMP, so there was like a prison and all this shit, like a ghost, like
right.
all the tropes. But it was fun. No, it was good.
So do you want to talk about that a little bit? You wanna open up with that and talk about Nighttime and anything that you might have like learned or experienced there that you carry forward, or any like solid memories or anything?
Yeah. So obviously I made a few good friends doing that, but it was the most like classic Minecraft SMP ever in terms of like there was drama, things weren't very well organized, like all the kind of like the things you'd expect from a random small streamer SMP these days, like things just going wrong, inconsistencies in lore, kind of cringe moments, that kind of thing. But it was fun, and I kind of like learned a lot of things that I didn't want to do going forward in lore, which I think is a good thing to learn early on, of like things to avoid, how I like doing things, stuff like that. The character I made was like, I literally just made a backstory, and then I was like, I'm just gonna play it like myself. Because I've done like D&D stuff before, but that's like the only experience I really had with roleplay, so I didn't really like know what to do. But it was fun. I enjoyed the character, enjoyed the people, and I went on to much better things, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So it was a good stepping stone.
Well, stepping stones are important.
Small content creator SMPs, like small SMPs, especially like I don't know. Up until Willow, I was just like finding a group of people I thought I could maybe vibe with by going on Twitter, typing in applications open SMP, and then like scrolling the list until it's like, well, maybe not that one, maybe that one. That one looks kind of cool, and just applying at random until I got into one. And then making that my like ride or die server for a while until it either ended or fell apart. And then it's on to the next one. Back to applications open SMP Twitter search.
Y'all had it hard.
That's the rough
I got
stuff.
nepotism into Willow first. That's all that happened.
Yeah, you haven't experienced the trauma like we have.
I never had to go on Twitter and do an application, man.
But I find that those are great learning experiences. I do, like, because there are a lot of times where it's like, I don't think I've been in an SMP aside from Willow and aside from maybe Moist, but even Moist SMP to a certain degree of just like where I didn't come out of the other end of it going, okay, I know what I liked about that project, and I know what I didn't like about that project. There are brand new things that I didn't know I wouldn't like until now. Sometimes those things I don't like are working with certain people, and sometimes those things are I didn't really like this mod in the mod pack, or I didn't really mesh well with these plot these sorts of plot points or playing that sort of a character in lore. And so like it's very much a like I don't know. I do find things that I like. Like I was very lore averse pre Willow of just like I'm not really into that, man. I don't know if I can get down with that until like genuinely got backed into a corner at some point. I don't know if you've noticed there are not a lot of lore light SMPs out there, so I was just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll dip my toes in, and I ended up liking it. But no, yeah. Long story short, I find that like each of these little hellholes you wind up in is it ends up being a learning experience in some way. So nighttime SMP. Yeah. Nighttime SMP, obviously small content thing that you did, something that you just said you learned things from. Where'd you go from there?
Okay, so after nighttime must have been like late, early 2021, and I was looking at SMPs, and I actually did a bunch of events first. I did a bunch of I can't remember what they're called, like Creator Clash events at the time, and I met a certain Chalubi Live in one of these events. And I was like, I kind of like, he was on my team. I met him. We didn't really talk after. Like, you kind of like, most team stuff. But I followed him on Twitter.
Most interactions with Chalubi, frankly. Yeah. You hear from him every now and again, and it's great when you do.
But obviously, at the time, Chalubi was like quite big at the time. This is like kind of when he was in like Pop SMP, which was what Widow SMP was called.
Right.
And he was retweeting stuff about an event called Campground Despair. Campground Despair is like a Danganronpa event. I don't know if you guys know what that is. Do you guys know Danganronpa?
I know what a Danganronpa is a little bit. I have like
I recognize the name.
Knowledge. I have like the slightest fringes of knowledge about it.
Yeah. So it's like a Japanese game series. I think it's Japanese. And the idea is there's a bunch of students who are locked in the school, and it's like a murder mystery series. It's kind of like Phoenix Wright almost, where you have to like figure out who did the murder with a bunch of clues and stuff like that. But each of the kids are called ultimates, which means that they're like the best in the world at their one thing. So like the ultimate paintballer is like the best paintballer in the world, for example, and all these characters are like themed after that.
I can't help but think when I think about like series where it's like each of these characters has their own special little ability, whether it be like this or like X-Men. It's like somebody's getting shafted somewhere. Somebody's like the ultimate fingernail clipper. That's just what they're really good at, and that's it.
Oh, there were some pretty bad ones, yeah.
or like a subcategory would suck as well. But yeah.
Oh yeah, depending on how specific it gets, right?
Yeah.
But you were saying it was Danganronpa inspired?
Yeah, and this is a series that I had never heard of up to that point, and I had no idea what it was. But I saw Chaluvi retweet it, and he was going to be part of it, so I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to apply. It'll be fun." So I applied and I got in, and it was a really, really, really cool event. And if you looked at my YouTube, you would have seen that my best video ever was about this series. And it was like, it wasn't an SMP, it was like an event. So it was 5 set weeks. And after that 5 weeks, the event would end. And it was like a pure roleplay. We all created these characters in this event. And it was like over the summer. So everyone was free all of the time. It was like kind of perfect timing. And some of the other people that you guys would know, it was so good. But some of the other people you guys would know in that event was Dark. Dark was in that. So was Chip Shrimp, Andrea, Lou, obviously Chalubi was in it, and a few other people who are kind of like Willow adjacent. And it was amazing. It was like the best thing I've ever been a part of, apart from Willow, maybe. They were very close. To this day,
maybe. This thing might have been better.
Yeah, it was close. But to this day, I still like reference it, and that's when I became really good friends with Andrea and Dark and stuff like that.
Oh hell yeah!
Yeah, and the week after that ended, Willow SMP started, and I applied the first week and I didn't get in.
Aww.
But luckily, I became quite good friends with Enzo after that point, and then in the next round of invitations, I managed to get in. So I was in Willow very early on, like a few months after it started.
Oh hell yeah!
That's crazy. Not you, but like you guys, as in like the Willow folks of old who existed when this name was around. You guys have managed to bury the name Pop SMP very.
I didn't know
very
what that
deep.
was. Yeah,
I didn't know until recently. I think somebody said it to me, like said it in a VC that I was in like 3-4 days ago, and I made that connection because I'd heard about Pop SMP when applications were open for it the first time.
Yeah.
Again, the same way I found out about every SMP at the time. And I had found out about that, and I had heard about Willow a couple months, like a good while after that. It was, I think it might have been even like 6 months later that I first heard the name Willow SMP. But it was while season 1 was still active and going, if I'm correct about that.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, and then like, you know, I kind of just like watched the season from afar and was like, these guys seem all right. You know, but like I was around when Pop SMP was around. Like I was in the content space when that was happening, and like when it was called that briefly. And so it's just like, and I never made that connection even to this day. And so like it's been very efficiently buried.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think Shalumi had a big part in burying that, so you got him to thank.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call Vox out though. When Vox found out about Willow SMP and he was applying, he was like, I don't know if I can get into this. This is like a big SMP.
I didn't find
dude.
out when I applied. I found out that applications were open, and I was like, oh, this is a bigger SMP than I've ever been in. I need to like I think the phrasing I used was, this is gonna be something. This is one of the big ones. You know?
Yeah, one of the big ones is what you had said, and it's so bizarre now because it's like, you know, we talk to everybody in Willow now pretty much all the time. Yeah. So like, hearing about like Pop SMP and Willow SMP and Vox's initial impressions and like the difference between all of these eras and the perception of it is so bizarre to me. But
yeah. It's such a weird, long-spanning project. But anyway, you joined Willow SMP at the time, Pop SMP. Where do we go from there? Where do we pick up there on the Abenz story?
I mean, Willow has kind of just been like this amorphous like blob that's kind of just extended over like 2.5 years or whatever it is now.
You blink and it's gone.
It's kind of like always been the main focus for me, apart from like the end of season 2, and that's about it. But I've been a part of like other projects. Like I'm a part of Wales' most recent project. I've done one of my friends hosts an SMP called Formation, which he's been a part of a bunch. But I've been like things here and there, but Willow has been like the main focus in terms of like SMP content creation for pretty much the whole time that I've been a part of it.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I think it's just something about the way that they make content and the moderation team and how like on it they are. That I think puts it a level above other SMPs, any other that I've tried anyway.
Absolutely, there's a level of professionalism that like I don't see a whole lot of in most SMPs, frankly. And it's a really nice thing. It's a really nice thing that
absolutely
the Willow team keeps up so heavily. And especially that, like, I don't know, I joined in season 2, and during that back half of season 2, I have this weird habit when I get onto a server of just like, all right, I'm gonna like get my little hole in the ground and I'm gonna fucking make stuff happen there on my own. And then if other people show up, so be it. But like, far as I'm concerned, I could do this all day, you know? And you know, very kindly, Crim comes to mind, especially like members of the mod team and members of just the server long-standing in general would just genuinely come out of their way to like, you know, they didn't know me from a hole in the ground, you know, and it's very odd that like they took or it's very thoughtful of them, I should say, not odd, but thoughtful that they took the time to like drag this guy out of his hole in the ground so he can like, dude, come on, come play with us, come on, you know.
Yeah. I definitely remember the mod team when they were looking for applications. I remember them talking about you specifically and like how much they were excited that they wanted to invite you and stuff like that. So I will say maybe maybe it was a bit of bias from the mod team there, but
it might have been. It might have been. But I've seen them go out of their way for other people, and that's
yeah.
It's great. It's a great thing that they do.
But season 2 was so unfortunate.
Season 2 fell off so hard, and I think it could have came back post console craft because everybody was so reinvigorated to get back to the game. But then the world got corrupted.
Yeah.
It was so weird. It was so weird because console craft was about half over, and we had just started getting to the like void corruption stuff in lore, and then life started imitating art a little bit, and the actual Willow 2 world file was starting to collapse in on itself a little bit. And that was funny. That was funny to see because like those plot points for console craft interwove so well into what was happening in meetings about Willow of just like, okay, but can we save chunks? Can we like write coordinates and save chunks of the world maybe and then preserve parts of it? And it's like, no, it's all going. This whole thing is going.
I just considered that I was the scapegoat for that in lore. I can't believe that shit. I'm mad about it now. It's my fault.
It's really Wish's fault. It was a problem with like what, Better End or Better Nether? It was one of those.
I can't remember.
Being a real big issue for like the.
I think it was Better End.
Yeah, I think it was Better End combined with giving everyone access to create on the server, which is just an awful idea.
Oh yeah, create on a server that big is just gonna cause problems.
Some of the machine people set up were just ridiculous.
Yeah, no. And they best be glad they got rid of Create for Season 3. Jed had some ideas for Schematico that I didn't even consider the lag implications of. But Schematico would have been a lag factory.
It would not have. They would have all had off switches.
No, but all the decorative stuff that you were thinking for the outside of the building, it would have all been for naught. Like, all that stuff would just be generating lag, like, for no reason in the background.
That is true. Schematico would have been, like, even worse.
It's not bad right now, I don't think. I mean, I do get a noticeable frame drop when I'm in the building, but not, like, from, like, 30 to 0. It's more just, like, from, like, 60 to 45. You know? So nothing
it's not too bad.
But either way, like, Season 2 had some world gen issues, and technically that's Bush's fault, because Bush assembled the mod pack.
Sure, why not? Let's blame it on Bush.
Pin this on Bush.
Hashtag blame Bush.
It was Bush's fault, and then it was your fault, Jed. Like, you and Laura are the reason the world fell apart.
Yep. Bush's fault out of character, Jed's fault in character. I'm okay with that.
Pissed about it. Pissed about it. Especially because I wasn't even in Season 2. I'm getting scapegoated for shit that I wasn't even a part of. But, oh man. Your current OC. Is this just like you with a set of goggles or what? Who is he?
Yeah, this has been my character since I started Minecraft creation. This has not changed one bit. So for the last like 3 years I've had this little guy. He is literally just me with goggles and a trench coat, and that's it.
Hell.
I've had Minecraft since like beta. Yeah, exactly. You gotta keep consistent.
Brand's great.
I've had Minecraft since like beta, and I got it when I was like I think 12, maybe 10. So I've had like so many different skins in the past, like so many different options. But this skin came from. Do you guys how well do you guys know the Yogscast? I'm interested.
Ooh. Not well. I was not a Yogscast person.
Well enough.
Okay. There's a person in the Yogscast called Rivian who had a really cool skin. I loved his skin. So I took his skin, I turned it green, and I had that for ages. Because I was like a kid, I was like, yeah, cool guy, I'll take your skin, that's how that works. And then I did an event, and I was like, I need a proper skin for this event. So I made myself a skin, and then when Campground Despair happened, one of the creators offered to make me a skin. I was like, yeah, sure, that'll be fun. And I've used that skin ever since. So
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I think it's okay,
it's simple. It's
the
easy to
Minecraft
draw.
community steals from each other all the time. So I think your like blatant theft is a little bit okay. Because like I don't know, what are they
Damn.
gonna what is the guy who's like the head of the brand that they're a part of is like Gimli and Riker as Minecraft skins? Are we really gonna get into like
Exactly,
copyright
I think it's
here?
Yeah.
It's changed enough now. It's alright.
I don't know. I dig that sort of thing though that happens in the Minecraft community where the first generation of content creators didn't really have anybody to pull from on what a Minecraft persona and like what Minecraft content looked like. And so they were kind of just doing their own thing and then every now and again stealing from pop culture in like interesting and funny ways. And then the second generation also stole from pop culture, and then started stealing from the first generation in terms of like ideas and things. And it just, I don't know, it's this weird, for such a like a creative little game, it's great that it's like fostered this like massive community of people who are like, yeah, sure, borrow this. Here's this idea that I have and you can have it. It's all right.
Oh, yeah.
And then in exchange, I'll take this,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The open source nature of Minecraft and how like everything is open. You can make mods. You can like create copies of mods and just edit them slightly. I think that whole like culture around Minecraft is like one of the best things about it. It's why games like Gary's Mod are so popular as well. Like that kind of
oh, for sure,
community driven open source nature. I think that's what makes Minecraft so special. I kind of love that shit.
Yeah, no, Minecraft is so like there's this. I'm sure you're old enough to remember this because you're about our age.
Damn.
But like there was in like the 90s and it kind of carried through into the 2000s. That's the only reason I'm super aware of it. There was this like early internet idea up until like 2010 of like someday the internet's gonna be a 3D space filled with like art and music and information and all these fun little bits. And I think Minecraft is the closest thing we have to that idea in execution of just like there's a Minecraft server for fucking anything, dude. And they're filled with all these like personalized 3D spaces that people have gone out of their way to construct, and it's very interesting and fun to me,
Yeah, or like VR chat, I guess, is like
VR chat's good too, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think,
so
I think
if VR chat was
Minecraft
like bigger, then yeah.
Yeah, I think Minecraft trumps it on just like the like ease of use, I think. Like is the only reason I give it to Minecraft over VR chat is because you can do more with VR chat than you can with Minecraft in terms of like the tools you're given with the client itself. But like I feel like the average person, like the skill floor for it is a lot lower in Minecraft.
Yeah, and even just like the access point, like even the shittiest PC, like a phone, like the shitty consoles can run it, like fucking it's so accessible. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, no, it's the accessibility of it that really speaks to me, of like anybody from like, children to the elderly, from like just about any economic class, just about any race or place in the world that you are, you can pick up Minecraft. There's not a language barrier, there's not like any barrier to entry really beyond do you have $7 and access to a device newer than 2010 basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic,
accessibility of Minecraft is great. We've talked about it on the show before about like that also being like a beacon for lore as well, just because of how accessible it is.
Minecraft as a storytelling platform is a whole other subject.
Yeah, did people on Gmod did that too, right? I'm sure there was Gmod lore creators.
Gmod RP is like
dude. Stuff back in the day.
Yeah,
Dark RP is that what it's called?
Oh shit! Yeah, you're right.
Which is like the public stuff, and then the little like sort of Gmod machinima channels. I don't. I feel like I've just aged myself a decade by using the word machinima to refer to videos made in a video game.
Oh god, I forgot about machinima. But I
like referring to machinima as like the well-known company machinima is one thing, but referring to machinima's the concept is another thing entirely. Sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just saying the machinima era of Minecraft. I forgot about that, where that was like the only thing that would pop off in Minecraft content, like 2012 or something. That shit was fucking insane. I was writing a script for a video about like the history of storytelling in Minecraft and how like it's evolved over time. And there's literally like 4 years where machinimas were like the only story content being made. It's fucking insane.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
I was looking at like the Wayback Machine and stuff, and the homepages were just ridiculous.
Yeah, they're very of their time, so a lot of these things don't really hold up quite as well
Yeah,
upon
yeah.
inspection. In terms of being like completely like, ooh, we can't say that word, buddy, or like, or like, man, the microphones in this sound like ass. But I've recently, because I've been planning to maybe do sort of a small scale plotted lore thing. Um,
Ooh.
I've recently been doing my own little deep dive back into some of my like favorites, like, you know, Shadow of Israfel, obviously, if we're talking Yogscast stuff.
Yes.
But then
Oh my
extending
God.
into like multimedia stuff like the Noob Adventures, if you remember that at all.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
then
Oh, wow.
Seedlings. Seedlings is really good, dude. I don't remember if Seedlings the show is really good anymore, but like they had these sort of behind the scenes things where they were like, yeah, no, here's the office where we make the animation. Here's the show Bible. It's a binder that's fucking like yay thick. It's like, I mean, you can't see the hand gesture I'm doing, but it was thick as fuck. They've got like pages upon pages of like storyboards and cinematics and little notes on like, hey, if you're using replay mod to get this, make sure you tick these settings so that it's like continuity accurate to how the camera was in the opposite shot. You know, like they really had a whole production flow going on that one. But like those three shows primarily, and a few other little smatterings here and there, are what I've been looking back at recently, and just like as like sort of like an experienced masterclass of like, here's how you tell a story successfully in this particular video game. You know?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But then you look back. I also look back at stuff like Red versus Blue that like predates Minecraft entirely by like almost like 5-7 years.
Yeah.
Something like that, where like, you know, early machinima was at, and where like long form continuity based storytelling was with like things like Halo Combat Evolved and whatnot.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And just like
The
early
ability
Rooster
for
Teeth
like
stuff.
the ability for content creators to make like story out of like any game. Like you can go back and find like Call of Duty story games. You're like, what the fuck is this? Like you're watching people run around a private lobby like doing RP. But I don't know. I feel like story content is so intuitive to like gaming in such like unexpected places and ways. I think it's like so cool that Minecraft is such like it's like the perfect catalyst, I think.
Absolutely.
Obviously, like there's a lot of tropes and stuff that are kind of overdone, like using skull as like a infection and stuff like that. But hey, like it's fine.
Oh yeah,
those things are gonna.
There's always
tropes.
Earn. It's always a good
but
time.
I think the fact that like I think that's really what's starting to cement it as like an actual like a like vetted form of storytelling that's like persisted as a medium is the fact that like there are Minecraft specific storytelling tropes at this point that are like, that's played out, that's done to death. And it's like, for that to be done to death, it's like, that's almost impressive in its own right to me. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it's because like you said, Minecraft is really just like the best catalyst for that sort of thing, because like as long as people have been able to control characters in video games, there have been like a million stories of people in their childhoods treating like, yeah, no, I would log into like fucking Kirby's Air Ride on the GameCube and like just fuck about, and it's just like it's so funny to hear those stories about like things like Kirby's Air Ride of all games, for example, of just like, dude, you give people a character they can control and an environment to control it in, and you'd be amazed how quickly it becomes dolls in a dollhouse for them, you know. But Minecraft is the first place that really let you properly build the dollhouse, you know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's so cool. I think I always kind of like wanted to do RP stuff. Like I'm a big D&D guy, so I've been doing D&D for like, I don't know, 6-7 years, something like that. And I've always been like, interested in doing RP in other ways, but I was like, I don't really know like how to get involved. And then obviously lockdown came, Dream SMP came, and that was the big like, oh shit, you can just like hop in a Minecraft world with other people who want to do that, and it's like kind of okay. Like because Dream SMP was doing it, it's not cringe, right? Like the houses, it's fine. You can be cringe and no one will know. It's all right.
Yeah, no one will stop you.
It was like finally
really bad news.
Oh no!
It was cringe because the Dream SMP was doing it, not in spite of it.
Christ.
Well, I didn't know that at the time. It was alright. Everyone was locked inside. You didn't have to talk to anyone about it. It's okay.
You didn't have to like look people in the eye and tell them you do Minecraft lore, and that made it all right.
And I still don't.
Oh man.
But no, what was your we'll go further back than nighttime. We'll go way back to D&D days
God.
and before for you. Of
Oh,
just like
wow.
what made you like realize that you liked this, but like what made you realize that you liked doing lore stuff and you liked doing character work to this degree?
I've never really been like one of those kids that was running around with a camera or anything like that. I've never been like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber when I grow up. But I think story content wise, I always really liked just writing short stories. Like I would just have like a notepad in my room, and I would just like write short stories about like whatever. Like I was a big fan of like reading. I was a fucking nerd, dude. Holy shit. Looking back to that, I just realized how much of a fucking nerd I sound like.
That is an insane sentence. I was a big fan of reading.
I'm a big fan of reading. Yeah, fuck it.
You know what? Shout out to books.
Yeah, shout out books. But I would just like I'd read books and then I'd write like my own characters into those books as I was reading them, and that's probably because
fun.
Like I had ADHD, so I could do that at the same time as reading. I would like think about my own character while I was reading a book, but that never really stopped. And then I found out that I could just play D&D online, and I was like, huh, I'll give that a try, sure.
Yeah.
And then if you thought like looking through random SMPs was bad, oh my god, looking through random D&D games online was an experience.
Oh, that's a nightmare.
Oh god,
it is a nightmare.
That sounds like
terrible. 30-year-old American men who have nothing better to do with their lives than shout at each
Sad
other.
adults with not enough friends to play D&D.
Holy hell, dude.
It was so bad. But that was kind of my introduction to like internet safety, so that was good.
Trial by fire.
Yeah,
intro
honestly,
to internet safety.
But the thing that I enjoyed most about D&D was like writing my character's backstory and like sitting there for like 2 hours before a session, just like sitting on the Doodle Docs page, just typing away. And then I was like, oh, I can like do this for my own game. So I started writing like world lore and like doing like world building stuff, and I found I really enjoyed that. And it's kind of just been like me finding as many avenues to justify writing as much as I can, basically. And yeah, that's kind of where the Minecraft stuff came from.
Awesome. But the question that I find nagging at me when I hear this is, why are you not an author? What happened there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean to nag you or anything. I don't mean to sound like why aren't you like hyper successful as an author? But like why take the Minecraft route instead of the traditional, like, if that's what you enjoyed, you know?
Because writing a backstory for a character I can do in half an hour, and writing a book requires a lot of attention.
It all rolls back to ADHD.
Yeah,
it's all in the ADHD.
It all comes back to why I can't get anything done.
No, I feel you. I don't know. Yeah. I get the same way. I'm not an ADHD haver or anything, but like I have this weird thing where I need to be challenged by what I'm doing or I will stop doing it.
Yeah.
Where like, I don't know, like I'll sit down with something and I'll go, finally a new thing. Great. Awesome. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to figure out a great workflow for this, and I'm going to like ease myself into it, and I'll ease myself into it. And by the time I'm like anywhere near like what I would call good at it, I'll go, man, I have a workflow and like a set of steps that I can follow here. This isn't challenging step by step or as a whole project. Like, this is no longer challenging to me because I've gamed it into being a thing that I can just do systematically, you know? And so, like, my issue is just, like, settling into my seat and being able to sit down and do something long-term, even if I'm good at it and am not really, like, super challenged by it, you know?
Yeah, I have the same thing about editing as well. Like, if you go back to my YouTube, you'll see that, like, for example, the Campground Despair series, they are, like, 1.5-hour videos, which is, like, insane thing to do, by the way. I do not ever do that. Holy shit.
Oh no. I did long ones for Console Craft, and I had like an 1.5-hour long one in the works. I would not wish that on anybody.
Yeah. So the whole thing of Countdown Despair was everyone would stream every single day of the week, and each episode was a whole week. So it's like 28 to 30 hours of footage per video that I had to edit down.
Sweet Christ.
I was like, oh, this would be really fun. Like, oh, I can do this. And I did the first one, and it went really well, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. I did the second one, and I realized like, oh, this is like I've done this before. This is not challenging anymore. So I like just about finished the second one, and then the other like 3 weeks worth of footage is just gone. I was like, I cannot motivate myself to do this anymore.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yeah, no,
Which,
that's the way she goes.
Looking back on it, I wished I had, because like I love that series, I love that SMP, and I wish I'd given it like the send off that I think it deserved. But I'm still proud of those videos. They're still my best performing videos, so it's alright.
Oh yeah.
And then like then the other issue is you finally, like, at least in my experience, you finally find something that challenges you consistently, that you enjoy doing because it's challenging and because it's new and fun and interesting every time.
Yeah.
And then you hit a day where you just really don't want to be challenged and kind of just want to go through the motions and get through the fucking day. And it's like, well, I didn't get anything done today because everything I have to do is, again, systematically designed to challenge me in some way mentally. Where it's like, I'm just not feeling it today. You know?
Yeah, that's why I've been enjoying like experimenting with different TikTok stuff recently. Like I don't know if you saw, but I'm trying to do like
TikTok's great.
the politics content at the moment. I'm trying to start to do some of that, and it's
Oh,
good.
hell.
Like, it's a completely new editing style, and like everything is like I have to throw away all my assets, and I have to like kind of like relearn how to edit from scratch, basically, with like all this different stuff.
Dude,
and it's
doing
good
short
because,
form is insanely hard.
Yeah,
like, it's an insanely different workflow.
And it's one of those things where, because of how TikTok works, I'm basically like doing a video, seeing how it performs, and then if it doesn't pop off, completely like changing how I do everything, and then if it doesn't pop off, changing how I do anything until I find something that works.
You have to,
which is painful, but there you go.
Yeah, no, you have to really, like, with TikTok, I've found that, like, because like, I don't know, I'm doing all right over there. But like the thing about
you're doing better than all right.
You're doing great. Right. What do you mean?
But like the thing about it is, like, I've just found a groove with it. But like the thing about TikTok, it's so horrible. Is just like what people wanted last week is not what they want this week, and so like it's very much like I've got a TikTok planned today, and based on information and data exclusively from yesterday's TikTok, and then. Tomorrow I need to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow from today's TikTok. I need to study these analytics as they come in and keep an eye on the view count, like, roughly.
Yeah.
But it's also great for that because it's like, oh, there's an editing mistake or like an error in this video. Oh well, nobody's going to remember it after the next one comes out. It's going to get buried and it's not that big a deal. When you release something on YouTube and it's like, well, a new video will come out next month. Awesome. But it's like, I have to sit with that mistake in my most recent video for a month until the next one comes out. And so it's just like, that's gonna be, that like, I don't know, even like the smallest little error in my head when I see it on the actual footage in the finished product, I genuinely consider just like deleting it and calling it a day. Because that, like, it's that excruciating to watch the view count go up and go, oh no. Even if it's something small enough where I know nobody will notice. But it's just like,
you're perfectionist as hell about that.
About
a lot of things
are just like, you gotta simplify down to the memory of a goldfish, dude. What was good yesterday will be probably good enough for today, but you need to look at tomorrow also. That's the 3-day span. 1 day ahead and 1 day back. That's all you got.
Yeah. Everything else may as well be like last year.
Yeah.
I'm such a perfectionist with editing as well. That's like, I love editing TikToks, and I'm gonna keep doing them, but like I spend way too long on TikToks. Like, I just don't need to. Like, as long as you got like the right pace and you're like you've got the content in, like, you don't need to be a perfectionist. Then my brain takes over.
Well, every time I end up in those situations, here's a tip for you. Every time I end up in those situations where it's like, man, I've been obsessing over this 1 second transition to get this text on and then off screen. I think about all the TikToks I watch in bed before bed on a daily basis, and it's just like, dude, I watch maybe like 100, 200 videos on my phone before I go to bed. Most of them have way bigger issues than the text was on screen 1 nanosecond longer than it needed to be, or that transition could have been better. And it's just like, so that's about the point that I go, somebody's gonna watch 30 seconds of this and scroll away anyway, or somebody's gonna watch the whole thing and enjoy it and not care that little mistake is in there. Good enough is good enough. Hit export, put it out.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to just settle for good enough is good enough, though.
Yeah, I don't know. But that's the thing. That's the thing, Jed. Content creation. That's what I've been trying to tell you. Because Jed's not like content
I'm
brained.
not a
like,
content brain
he
guy.
doesn't really like have this down as much as just like every day you take a break is the day that like the guy next to you is working harder. So like if you want to stay where you're at, you got to maintain. You know. And
I don't know.
It's
maybe
a
that's
grueling fucking grind. Anyway, sorry.
Maybe that's my issue.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I have the perfectionist thing, but instead of like motivating me, it kind of like paralyzes me. I'm like, I don't want to release something unless like I know it's perfect and I know that like I have complete control over it and stuff. And that's why in like 3 years of content creation, I haven't like created my own project. Like I've never done my own SMP. I've never done my own like event or anything like that. I have like a lot of plans too and stuff like that, but I can never like. If I was ever going to do something like that,
Right.
I need it to be like exactly perfect, and I would judge myself like way too harshly. Like I don't know. I would love to at some point, and I do have plans to. I'm talking to some people at the moment, but I'm very like perfectionist to the point of paralysis, where I just kind of get stuck in wanting everything to be just right.
Oh, I totally understand that feeling as well, and I end up there occasionally, but I just throw myself to the wolves a little bit of just like, you know what? I'm my own worst critic. If anybody were to come to me with this particular complaint, I'd say that they're an asshole who's looking way too into a YouTube video they saw one time. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
But it's just like, I don't know. Usually, like, luckily I get away with not a lot of being like stuck in a project for far too long, because like I don't know, I there are times where I can edit for like 4 to 6 hours straight, no trouble. And it just works. And there are other times where it's like, I've heard myself say the word although the exact same way for like 7 different, like for like 7 minutes now, because I've been reworking this 1 second of footage. I need to stop. You know? Like I hit a breaking point with it where it's like, if I don't stop, I never will. Just never be free of it. But no, yeah,
he'll never be free.
Editing is a task I do not enjoy, even a little bit. I used to, but I found what I enjoy about editing the most is having edited. The only part of actively editing that I like is being able to look at the thing I just spent hours doing and get like a small window into like what the final product will look like when it's done.
Yeah, clicking the export button.
Yeah, hitting the export button.
Good feeling.
And then previewing it in like Windows Media Player, and then previewing it again in like the YouTube player once it uploads. Those are the only times that I really enjoy editing, is when I can look at something and go, I did a good job editing this.
That's fair. Oh, I love editing. I think if I like going forward, if I had the choice, I'd probably rather be just an editor than a content creator.
Right.
Mostly, I don't know. I think I realized like a while ago that I don't have like the it factor for being a content creator. Like I'm not that, like I don't have that host personality. I don't think I'm not like as witty as like or as loud or anything like that. Yeah, like considering all the people around me, like Chalubi, like Dark, like you guys are like natural entertainers, and you have that like it factor where I'll just like press play and I'll just listen to you guys and I won't ever stop. And you guys can ramble on, and it will always be entertaining. And I kind of realized it's true. But I kind of realized a year ago, like I don't think I have that. Like I think I'm funny, but I don't think I'm stream funny. You know, there's like 2 very different things. So I was like, okay, what can I do that will be entertaining and people will want to pay attention to? And I was like, I can edit. I know I enjoy doing like camera work. I enjoy production, stuff like that, and I enjoy writing. So I was like, I'm just going to do that as content. So any chance I get, I like to, I do editing stuff for other people. And I'm basically just trying to practice and get better and keep doing like content writing and production stuff. That's basically like what I'm doing at the moment. Like I stream because I enjoy it, but I don't stream to like get big. Like, I don't have a schedule. I don't any of that shit. I just do it.
That's the thing I picked up very fast, because like as much as it seems natural, I swear to you, I am a manufactured man when it comes to like being able to host things. I am a manufactured man. But the thing about it is that like being in a couple professional productions and all throughout, like, especially all throughout, like, high school, taking, like, several different, like, film courses and production courses, you learn very quickly that there are two kinds of people in this business of show in general, even down to, like, something as little as content creation, and that's the people in front of the camera and the people behind the camera. And what you'll find is the guy in front of the camera isn't easily replaced because the audience will notice, but the guys behind the camera will never be noticed by the audience, and they are infinitely less replaceable. Those are the people you need more than anybody. Dude, those guys are invaluable. The ability... I really like... I used to be such a nitpicker about just, like, oh, well, I don't know that I like when people hire editors or writers for their content, because it feels like you're giving away a piece of your like soul a little bit of the production, just because I'm so used to the, like, traditionalist content space where it's like, you know, I sit down, I write a video for like a week, I record that video, I edit that video, and I post that video, and it's all me all the way through, no credits lines, you know? But, like, the thing about it is, that's not maintainable long term, first of all. And second of all, if you find people you mesh with well, and you really have to mesh well with the people behind the camera, I find. But, like, if you find an editor who understands your comedy and, like, how the timings in it work, or understands the story beats you're trying to put into a video, and you find a writer who can really, like, put your thoughts into, like, who could just basically take a rough script from you and punch it up just a touch in a way that you could with an extra week of time, but, you know, this thing's got to be out next week, you know? If you find those people who can help you along your way, like, a support system is important in life in general. It's especially important in a production. It really takes a village, and putting it all on one guy is a lot. And so over time, I've really eased those sort of more, I hate to put it this way, but those sort of more, like, conservatist views of just, like, you know, you should grassroots do it yourself if you're gonna make content, man. If you want to be in a movie, go be in a movie. Don't fucking, you know, if you're not ready to be, like, judge, jury, and executioner on this thing, then don't, you know? But, like, over time, I've settled in on just, like, no, that's chill. That's absolutely chill. You just gotta have the right people for it, I think. You know?
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think it's one of those things where, like, obviously when you start streaming, you want to be, like, I was watching, like, fucking, like, Tommy Knit or whatever. I'm like, oh, I want to be like that. Like, I want to be the guy. And I started streaming, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And then as soon as I got into, like, I got surrounded by, like, talented people. I was like, oh, fuck, I am not that guy. I was like, fuck. But I think even when I was, I think I kind of realized that quite early, and I was like, that's kind of fine. Like, I'm okay with that. And a lot of what I did when I was streaming, especially on, like, Willow, was I found people that I was like, you have it. Like, you have that entertainment personality. What can I do to, like, elevate your content as, like, a fellow streamer? Because I was like, I'm never going to be, like, the funniest or the loudest person in the room. So people like Dark, people like Jake especially. I've done so many streams with Jake lately. He's amazing. I love that guy.
Jake is absolutely the best. I get this feeling.
And he has it as well, for sure.
Yeah, he absolutely has it. I get this feeling, especially around Jake. It's like magnified around that guy in particular. But being surrounded by a bunch of talented people in Willow, of course, is great. But and it kind of shifted me the other way, where it's like, I can still be the guy. These guys are more the guy than I am. How can I learn from them? How can I, like, still participate, but kind of just sit and watch them do their craft and take notes, you know? Because they're where I want to be, and I'm there too. Like, I'm there. I'm where I want to be, but they're also here, and they still seem like a league above me. And I especially get that with Jake Stone, because Jake, that man is kicking consistently.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have no idea how he does it, but he's great. Fantastic guest on the show he was, but also just, like, a fantastic creator. And, you know, he actually set me straight about a couple things when he was on the show. I won't lie to you, because I was like, I have this, like, idea in my head that, like, when I'm actively doing content, I love it. When I'm actively recording this show, or when I'm actively streaming, or when I'm actively making a TikTok, I actively love that project. But as soon as I'm not doing it anymore, oh, it's a fucking chore. I never want to do it again. That shit sucked. I'm gonna do it again, and I'm excited to do it again. But right now, I couldn't fucking stomach the idea of doing that again. Just because it takes so much out of me to like do it. But like in the moment, it's so much fun. And I mentioned this to Jake because it's one of our default questions that we ask of just like, hey, what drives you out of bed in the morning to make content? What makes this special for you? You know, what pulls you from like the slog and mundanity of it to like really get it done? And Jake was like, "This is a gift, dude. What are you talking about? We're not owed this. You know, this is something we get to do, and it's lovely that we get to do it at all." And since then, it's changed that like. Of course, this is something that like I understood fundamentally. Of like, of course, there are lots of people who don't have access to the like privileges I do, but I never consider like it really set me straight back on the path of like, no, this is absolutely something we're allowed to do. You know, this is something that like the world has blessed us with, and we should take it and really grab it by the balls and enjoy every second of it. You know.
Yeah, that man's a fucking gift. I love that man. And
Absolutely.
he is the perfect example of one of the most entertaining people in the world, but one of the worst, like, produced and like one of these like his technical side of streaming is just awful. Oh my god.
Oh no, yeah. Jake is also a great example of what we're talking about where like you need the people behind the camera sometimes. You need somebody to make sure your mic works before you come on a podcast. You know?
Oh man, that was super unfortunate.
Yeah, no, I think his mic was actively starting to break while we were recording. So like
he didn't quite know before.
Still,
I guess
you need those people. Just rounding back around, you need those people behind the camera sometimes to go like, hey, dude, this mic is like years old. We might want to like tune it up and get it checked or replace it. You know?
Yeah. I love,
absolutely.
Like, I love doing that stuff. I love playing that role where I can. Like, obviously, I stream for fun, and I just happen to like be around a lot of those people just because of that. But I have like. I always say like I will happily edit anything for anyone, and I just want to like get involved in helping the community because I feel like a big problem with the small like Minecraft creator community is everyone wants to be the star. Everyone wants to be the big personality.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah, whenever you're on a VC with a lot of people like in this community, oh my god, my ears will never recover because everyone is trying to be the loudest. Everyone's trying to get their point across.
Yeah.
I think this community needs more people who are happy to be not like the side character, but like the supporting act. Like everyone, like there has to be some people who aren't gonna be the main voice, and I am more than happy to do that.
That was like a culture shock for Vox and I because Vox and I, we've talked about it. We're definitely less of like actors, performers, like the rest of the Willow SMP, and we're more like comedians. And in comedy it's really important to have like an ebb and flow between each person back and forth, and I think Vox and I are pretty good about it. But we entered into a VC and it was like, dude, we're waiting for our chance to get in and then we'll get cut off, and it's like this is a whole new beast that I don't understand.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's just such a problem, and it's not a problem with any individual, I don't think, as much as like it's like a person is smart, people are stupid situation where it's like you put these people in front of a crowd, those instincts come on. That's just how it works. You get them in front of like a room full of people and like that, like, all right, how do I make them laugh? How do I get them on my side of this? You know? That immediately comes on when it comes from like the content creation space. And I feel like especially a lot of the like younger folk have a hard time in large groups of like learning that lesson of you have to be able to cut it off at some point. You have to be able to turn that part of your brain off a little bit and just sit. Because like I don't know, when I'm recording, when I'm streaming, it doesn't matter how big of a group of people it is, like I'll participate. But if I'm not meant to be entertaining right now, like if I'm under no obligation to be entertaining right now and I'm in a group of more than like 5 people, typically I'll just sit back and people watch. I like to people watch. I like to watch people do their thing and see how they react in situations. But that's what this podcast has been so good for, though. That's what this podcast has been so good for. Sorry, Jed. Is that you sit down with each individual and get to sort of let them guide you around for a while into bits of conversation, and it's fantastic. I love it, you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like for this episode, I find that in conversation it is important just to take a step back, even when you are doing content like this, where it needs to be really high energy and driving. I haven't had much to say about a lot of content creation because I'm not in that space, and it's okay to take a step back and let the other people talk. Because if you interrupt and say some random shit, it's gonna kill the conversation.
It's just gonna break it.
Yeah, for sure. It's better to be quiet than it is to break the conversation, and like. You know, that's something that a lot of people have to learn with content creation, but
yeah, I had the same thing when I started the Willow podcast originally. I was like, I don't get to talk to most of the people because most of the people just being shouted over whenever I try to have a conversation. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm just gonna get like 3 people and just sit down and talk, and I actually get to hear what you have to say, which is like so refreshing. I understand.
Absolutely.
I get it.
I also want to talk about that. If we could pivot for a moment.
Of course.
To talking about the Willow podcast and the very short-lived but very well liked Willow SMP, the podcast. How did that come about, and how was it as like a general experience doing that?
Yeah, so this was like I think it started like maybe like 2/3 of the way through Willow season 1. So this is like when stuff started to get quiet, and I was kind of like. I was still like quite active because I was doing like mega builds at the time and stuff like that. And I was like, I want to keep Willow going because I love all the people on it and it's amazing. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start like a podcast. Originally it was gonna be like a talk show, but I was like, no, podcast is probably better. So I made a whole set on the server. I made this whole like fishing lake, and like there was a whole like huge like sign above it that said Willowcast. And basically the idea was I invited like 2 or 3 people on, and we would sit on Willow, like on the server, and we would sit in these boats on this lake, and we would fish while we did the podcast. And we basically did the podcast, and it was like an interview, basically, like kind of series. And the idea was whoever caught the most fish at the end got like a bunch of prizes and stuff. It just as like an extra thing because I'm content pilled, and that's the only way I can entertain myself.
Yeah, do a little bit extra.
Yeah, but it was great. I really enjoyed it. I got like pretty much everyone on the server who wanted to do it on, and then the server closed, and I was like, oh, okay. Well, that's fine. I was like, yeah, I'll bring it back for season 2, and then season 2 was just incredibly laggy, and yeah, you guys know about season 2. I don't need to explain that. But no, I loved it. I don't know. It was so good.
I don't know. I feel like in a lot of ways we end up being a spiritual successor to that unintentionally.
Oh, for sure.
Just because we have a lot of Willow folks on. Because me and Jed just started doing this. This has been a plan for a while now to do a podcast, and the only holdback has been Jed just going like, I don't know if I want to. You know?
Well, no, I've always been game for a podcast. You were like, I don't know if I can get into another podcast because the last one you did, you had a lot of issues with.
Dude,
of just like scheduling.
That last show, I had a show where like the hosts couldn't be bothered to show up on time, which that happens occasionally. Of course, it happened today. In fact, but it became a thing where it became such a problem. This is the first time I've showed up late to an episode in a while, though. I think this is the first time in like 10, 15 episodes. Who knows? But. Either way, it would be every week would be an insane fight, even though I knew neither of these people. It was a 3-host show, which is already kind of an odd number. But it was it was such an issue of just like, how do I toss this? Like, how do I toss in like that we need to do the show this week, sometime this week? We never had a set time for it, and so it was constantly a fight of like, okay, how's Tuesday? Not Tuesday. How's Wednesday? Not Wednesday. How's Thursday? And it's like, why'd you agree to host this with me? You know?
Yeah. Oh man,
that quickly became an issue. Anyway,
and so like I would bring it up, and I was very interested in doing a podcast with Vox, and he's like, I don't know, but like we eventually finally settled into
where
here.
I was like, I need something to keep me going. I need something like to keep me posted on this podcast, both for that like I need to be challenged reason, and there's a million podcasts out there. Let's wait till we have something special, you know?
Yeah. And like even then we didn't ever get that like something special. You kept trying to like fight for it, and eventually we just got to the point where once we started getting into like more Willow circles and things like that, I had brought it up again, or maybe you had brought it up again, and you're like, I don't know if there's demand for it, and you put it on your Twitter, and like 100% of people voted yes, you should do a podcast.
It was like
that would
it
be
was
great.
like a poll, and Twitter polls famously don't do well for me. I usually get like a vote or two on a Twitter poll. I'm a guy who like it doesn't do well on Twitter. Twitter is just not my platform. And you know, I post what I think will be a banger tweet, and you know, I it just doesn't work out for me. But like either way, I put out a poll, and it was just like an overwhelming immediate response to do a podcast, please. Like, because there isn't a lot going on in the small Minecraft community, like the smaller Minecraft community, in terms of like the circles that I run in, when it comes to like, here's a podcast for those guys, you know?
Yeah.
And so like there was a niche to be filled, and we found it, and that was nice.
Oh yeah.
No, it's great. It's a perfect like spiritual successor. Like I get asked by like people like Dark, like, oh, you should bring your podcast back. I'm like, no, I can't do it. Not with Vox and Jed, like right there. I don't. It'd be like the same demographic.
Yeah, you're welcome to.
I don't want to. No. I would feel it would feel wrong. You know, it's passed on now. It's in better hands.
Well, we're happy to have your blessing at the very least on this thing that we do.
It's rough. Did you ever experience with the original Willow podcast, people who are like, yeah, I want to do that again. Get me back on again.
Oh, all the time.
We've been fighting of just like, we cannot have repeat guests. I'm so sorry. You guys are fantastic. We had a great time. I'm so sorry.
Guests, right? I would
the
issue with the repeat guest is twofold. It's are they coming to promote something? Have they done anything new since the last time we saw them that we can actually, you know, kick off a conversation with? Or B, I have this massive lineup. Like, pretty much, I was just talking to Jed about it yesterday, because it came up on the web fishing stream yesterday. That, like, and those web fishing streams are great, by the way. I started doing those on Wednesdays a while ago, and then Enzo and Bush took it this week and decided to host one. And so it's great. I love web fishing with the Willow people, because it's so nice to sit and have a little chat, you know.
I wish I was awake for them.
Yeah, no. But we'll host a late night web fishing at some point, and we'll get you in on that one.
Oh yeah.
What was I saying? Oh right, yeah. I was saying repeat guests. It comes up all the time. I don't think I've ever been in a large VC where at some point somebody realizes I'm in that VC and goes, "Can I come on the podcast?" And it's like, you can come on the podcast. I don't want to make you feel bad, but the way it's structured and the fact that there's a backup, we got like 8 guests before we get to you. I'm sorry, because I'm so bad about that. Because when people come to me and they're like, "Hey, can I be on the show?" And if next week's spot, like if the next upcoming guest spot is empty, I'll go, "Sure. How's the 25th at this time?" You know. And they're like, "Yeah, that works." And so like we end up with a backup of like 2 to 3 guest episodes. And because we do solos in between those traditionally, it's like that's 2 to 3 guest episodes from now. And then on top of that, 2 to 3 2 to 3 non-guest episodes. And so, like, yeah, we can have you on in, like, 6 to 10 episodes.
Yeah. That's rough. Yeah, I got lucky with the Willow cast, because the whole idea was that I was the solo host, so I had to have people on every week. And I would usually have, like, multiple people on, and I would get people on, like, in a group. And so if I got, like, different groups on, it would be different things to talk about. So, for example, I could have, like, Dark and the admins on as one group. Yeah, yeah. So
where you sort of just assemble like a panel of like, here's 3 guests, I'm gonna ask them all questions.
That's exactly the vibe I was going for. And it was kind of like, so I get like Dark and the admins on, and they talk about like Willow stuff and admin stuff. And then like a different week, I could get like Dark and his boyfriend on at the time. And that would be like it'd be like the same person, but it's a completely different side of that person. They talk about completely different things, right? So it kind of works in getting like the same person but different content. But obviously this is a slightly different scenario.
Just squeezing that lemon dry. Just absolutely getting all you can out of them. But no, yeah, I think that's a really interesting format, and like you said, there is trouble with that format of a panel of guests, because sometimes you get a group of 3 people that really jive and really work together, and then sometimes you just don't. Sometimes you're stuck with like either like a bum guest who like doesn't mesh well with the rest of the guests that you're having on that day, or vice versa, and it's just like, man, this is a mess. Oh man.
Yeah, and it's still great. It's still good to have a good time with a guest, but like sometimes it's like you are not as like podcasty as you are a streamer and an entertainer. So
Yeah.
it's just like this is sometimes hard, and sometimes people have like speaking cadences that you need to get used to. So like dead air is like our biggest enemy in this show, so we like fight that shit tooth and nail.
Oh yeah, I'm
But
so nervous about like interrupting people and stuff like that. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
I think
hate
about it all
too.
the time.
I hate it too because like we interrupt our guests all the time, completely unintentionally, just because it's like me and Jed work really well together. But adding a third
Mhm.
person to that flow, even when we're directed at that person, is just like we're gonna ask this person questions and interview them and talk to them about subjects they're interested in. Sometimes we end up barreling over them to talk about a subject, and I feel real bad because like I come off a guest episode. Like hell, I'm kind of
So
feeling it
some
about today's
people,
episode where it's like, God damn it, let the guest talk, you know?
yeah,
The point of the
but
episode.
some people do have really weird speaking tendencies. Like I love you, buddy, but Dark, oh my god, the way
Dark is
like
so
the
stop and
way he
start.
bounces around a conversation is so weird. Like he'll just stop and
Yeah.
start in like most unexpected spots, and it throws me off so much.
Yeah, I find it
Eh,
interesting though. I feel sort of and I hate to like liken this to like a sport, but I feel sort of like a boxer sometimes in those situations where it's like, you really have to like study the person's flow a little bit and figure out where they're
Mm.
at, and it keeps you on your toes, and it's like, well, what are you, a podcast host or a guy who can barely hold a conversation? You got to figure that out, And if you want to be the former, you got to be able to handle people like that. But it is a challenge. It certainly is a challenge.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean we'll wrap back around to the questions. Vox had brought up earlier about what drives you to make content, and that being like Jake Stone's question about that being, oh yeah, it's a gift and you do that. But what about you? Do you have the same like lofty like idea about it, or
I don't quite have the philosophical speech to hand out, but I mean, the reason I do like any of my own personal content, like obviously I've talked about like I really like editing other people and I really like doing production, and like that's just like I want to get better at that, and that's what I want to do with content in the future. But like my own personal streams and anything like that, I just do it because I enjoy it. Like it's a hobby. Like it's what I do for fun, you know. Like I just get up, I'm like, yeah, I fancy streaming today. Why not? It'd be fun. And I don't put any more pressure on it than that. I haven't looked at my Twitch statistics page or my YouTube statistics page for like over a year. I don't look at any stats. I don't do anything like that. I have view account turned off. Like all I do is I just press stream and I just have fun with people. Like
yeah.
that's literally the only reason that I press live at this point. And I'm like very okay with that. Like I'll edit because I enjoy editing, but I also edit because I want to get better at it and I want to improve, and that's the content I want to make. But in terms of like streaming, it's just as a hobby and just because I enjoy it, which I think is kind of the best way to do it, honestly.
Oh, for sure. I recently moved to more of a lax streaming thing as well, where like I don't have a schedule
Yeah.
anymore. I still like loosely follow my schedule just because I'm like other people are depending on me to be there at a time. But like usually it's like if I'm doing a solo stream, I'll just hop on Saturday and do something real quick for a few hours, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
I don't limit myself to the 4-hour format anymore. I'm not on that schedule anymore. A few months ago, I did that thing you were talking about, just like hiding specifically the viewer number from my screen
Oh,
at all
that
times.
helps so much. Oh
That
my
is
god.
such a tremendous help because it's like sometimes you end up in what we like to call 2 viewer hell, where it's like, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
at like I've been teetering on one this entire stream, and it makes it kind
Oh
of hard
man.
to remain motivated. And nowadays, I don't know if I'm in 2 viewer hell or not until the stream's over, because even if I'm
Yeah.
like, I just have a very quiet chat. I've like sort of formed a community of lurkers mostly, where it's like, it's some days I'll have like 10-15 viewers for a stream, but like nobody's saying nothing. We're just hanging out. We're just vibing and letting
Yeah.
the content happen, and that's all right. I don't mind working with myself, but it's just like that alone, the fact that like chat is just quiet most of the time, it adds where it's like it's impossible for me to know who's watching and how many, So it's
Oh
like
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
it's really helpful for the moment to moment content and making sure I make every second count and make every second watchable.
That's why I will not do solo content, man. I have such a dead chat and no viewers to the point where it's like, dude, I'm not even having fun. I'm just like sweating and like trying to keep up and trying to talk about the game, but trying not to get too focused on the game and trying to bring up other things. But it's just a disaster every single time. And I'll get to the 2 hour mark and I'll be exhausted and I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
I think for a while I was sorry to interrupt.
No.
For a while I was quite similar to that. Like when I started doing Minecraft stuff, and it was like I was surrounded by other streamers. I was like, oh shit! Like I need to be watching my viewer count. I need to be like doing like chatting to like watching my chat all the time, stuff like that. But it got to a point where I was just like, so I just didn't want to press go live. I fucking hated the idea of like streaming. Like I still wanted to hang out with people, but I was like, I just don't. I feel so demotivated. Like I just don't want to do it. And I changed a bunch of stuff. Like I turned off my view account, and I stopped opening my stream statistics and stuff, and everything just became like so much easier. Like another one that was good for me was getting rid of my camera. Helped like in like an infinite amount. Like I didn't even think about my camera. It wasn't even something that I was like aware of, and I wasn't like, oh shit, like I'm gonna have to like do my hair or whatever before a stream. Turning it off just made pressing the go live button like so much easier, and I love my PNG tuber, so that helps as well.
Yeah.
But I've been doing streams with my friend Jamin, who I've known for a long time now, and we've been doing streams together for a long time. And we basically just been like, hey, you around? Yeah, I'm around. You want to go live? Yeah, sure. And we'll just go live at whatever time it happens to be, like middle of the day, like whatever. I'm not even thinking about like who's around. We're just pressing go live and just playing games together. Like, I think being a streamer in like lockdown times, it kind of takes me back to that, where I was just like, I'm going live because I have nothing better to do, and for the sake of it, like I'm just gonna play a game and go live. Like I'm not gonna talk to chat, because at the time I was just streaming to my friends. So like, why would I bother talking to chat? And I'm just kind of bringing the same attitude. Not that I'm gonna like ignore chat, but like I don't care about chat. You know, like the chat is not gonna. I'm not gonna let the chat like give me the enjoyment. I'm just gonna let the game do that instead.
It
helped me so much with just pressing go live.
Yeah, absolutely. There definitely is a lot of people who are just like, oh yeah, if you wanna get big, if you want this, if you want that, if you want to be really a streamer, you've got to do this, that, and the other, and you've got to have a schedule, you've got to do this, you got to do that. And recently, I've just been like, there are a million streamers out there, and like I'm one of them. If I want to stand out, I gotta not be doing what everybody else did to succeed. I gotta be doing my thing, and if I'm doing my thing, I mean, that means I gotta do it my way. And, so I've just recently been opting into just like, I'm gonna just start doing it my way. And genuinely, it's been an insane boon to how much fun I'm having on stream, and how much growth I'm receiving over the course of like these streams. Like, streams are doing better, and I'm doing better. And it's just all around a way that works a lot better for me to be able to just like, I'll just go live whenever, Yeah,
one of the things that actually turned it around for me quite significantly was I went to a convention in the UK called Insomnia, which is like a big gaming convention. Like a bunch of streamers and stuff go there. And I went to one of the meet and greets, and a guy called In the Littlewood was there, who is like a big Yogscast member. He did a bunch of like the songs back in the day, like the Minecraft parodies, like the
oh yeah, I remember.
in the Never, like how do I craft this again, like all that shit. That was him. But
hell of a throwback.
Yeah. But I've always liked him. He's like he looks very similar to me, so I get compared to him a lot. But he was a big like inspiration of how I want to do content. And I was like talking to him at this meet and greet, and I was like, I don't really want to press the go live button, but I want to stream, if that makes sense. And he was like, you just have to find whatever way you can that makes you enjoy it. And the only factor that is important is you enjoying it, because if you enjoy it, your viewers will be able to tell. Like they know when you're actually enjoying streaming and when you're not, and that is what makes them want to watch. Like, you can have something as crafted and as perfect as you want, but if you're not enjoying doing it, everyone's going to be able to tell, and they're not going to want to watch you. So just do what you enjoy, and I think that changed my perspective on it a lot.
No, yeah, that's a wonderful piece of advice. That's a wonderful piece of advice, because again, like, you gotta have fun at the end of the day. You gotta have fun doing it, or what's the point? Why aren't you just working a 9 to 5? Because if you're not having fun and you're also doing it to get like if you're doing it for growth and you're doing it not to have fun, or if you're not having fun doing it, let me back that sentence all the way back out. If you're not having fun doing it and you're not making money and you're not getting viewers, you're wasting your time. Those are the 3 reasons to want to do this. And I do it because it's fun and I like to make people laugh, and so I fall into the viewer angle too. And I'd love to make a living making people laugh. And so like I've hit the trifecta, of course, and I think most people do to some degree. It's just like but if you're hitting none of those goals, you need to reevaluate at some point, you know? You really have to see what you're doing, and of course priority number 1 is that first goal of have fun doing it, because why else, you know?
I think it's one of those things where, especially like massively a big problem in the small creator space is they will see a big creator that they really admire and they will try and do exactly what they do, which like I understand and it kind of like makes sense. Like they'll try and like stream for this many hours on this many days, and it's like, yeah, sure, like go for it, but just remember that these guys all have like huge teams and huge support structures and are making a lot of money doing this. So it is like a completely different like mental game to do it when you have like 2 viewers compared to doing it when you have like 30,000 or whatever. Like you can't stream like someone who's doing it for a living. You have to like make sure that you are having fun and that it's actually sustainable for you to do.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially younger creators, kind of fall into that trap.
Absolutely. And the thing I learned very quickly, another piece of advice that I feel falls into the same category, is just break your heroes. Because I used to fall into that same category where it's like, this guy's doing this and I really admire what he does. I want to try to emulate that to some degree. And it's like, it's cool to take inspiration. You need to be able to disagree with that person, though. You need to find literally anything, even if it's just like they like pineapple on pizza and I don't. Find some flaw in this human being, please. Take your time, find the person you like the most, and go, I disagree with that on some level. And then that'll make it all the easier to go, he streams 8 hours a day, I don't need to do that. He does this on his stream that I'm not exactly comfortable doing. I don't need to copy that exactly. It makes it so much easier to sort of like, you know, take what you like and sort of, for lack of a better word, sort of like scrap them for parts of just like, I like this and that. Not a big fan of the rest of it. I'm just gonna take those, all right? You know, and because like it makes it so much less of a package deal in my brain, at least, to go like, I'm able to disagree with this person, and like that humanizes them to me on some level, that we disagree on a subject. That's enough for me to go and disagree a little bit more and find more things that like, and more easily be able to sort of like cut out the pieces I don't like, you know?
I like that. That's good.
Absolutely.
I think especially like I follow a lot of like political creators, and I think that's a really big thing in that space as well, where it's like you cannot think that any singular creator is perfect, because like they're not. Like not no single creator is perfect. Obviously in like political spheres it's so much easier because you can just like disagree with an opinion, but in like Minecraft spheres or like whatever game it is you're playing, it is so easy to fall into that trap of, oh, this is the perfect human and I want to be exactly like them and do everything like them, and then you find out 3 years later something shit and you're like, my world has just been turned upside down. Well, fuck.
Absolutely. No, yeah, that is something that you run into in political spaces, but especially the Minecraft space, like you said, it can be hard to find. It can be really hard to find that sort of thing. But like, and it's not even necessarily a bad thing. It's just that, you know, everybody's flawed, and that's okay. And the thing about it is just that, like, it is just being able to acknowledge that they are flawed, and thus it's okay for me to be flawed when it comes to making these things. Like, you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to stumble, as long as you, like, sort of complete the motion in the end, you know? You gotta get back up, you gotta find something that works best for you to prevent that stumbling, but you're gonna stumble, and that's fine. You know?
Yeah.
Just at the end of the day and all. Oh man. We've got plenty more questions. We've got plenty more questions here to go around. Let me see if I can pull something. Did we ever get around to what actually drives you to make content? I know we brought that question up. We did, Jed asked. Right. How do you deal with scheduling? This is a big question for like you personally. How do you deal with scheduling? Because again, you joke about it a lot about just like, oh man, I wish I could be there for that. You know, how do you get over that FOMO and go like, well, they're doing this at like 2:00 in the afternoon Eastern time. There's no way I'm making that. You know.
Yeah. So I'm on just for everyone context. I'm on UK time, which is 5 hours ahead of Eastern and 8 hours ahead of Pacific, which is rough. And to be honest, the real answer is for a long time I didn't. Like, for example, Campground Despair, I would stay up until like 3-4 a.m. every single night for 5 weeks straight, and it fucking broke me. I struggled a lot with sleep before Minecraft, and the kind of combination of like all the people that I was making friends with were American was not good, and I didn't deal with it for a long time. And I think my grades in uni suffered as a result, which is not good. Do not let it get to that point where you are suffering in education because you want to stay up for Minecraft roleplay. Do not do. And like coming back home and staying at home kind of made me realize like it's not worth it. I've got to look after my health and all of that stuff. And like I just kind of became okay with not doing. I know it's not a good answer. Like this is not advice or anything like that. I just decided that I was like okay with it. Like for example, fucking console craft. Console craft, the whole month for console craft was my exam month, which is why I never watched a single stream.
That's unfortunate.
I didn't know any of the people in Console Craft. I didn't watch a single stream of Console Craft for the whole month, and I didn't know anything about it. But I was like, it's fine. I'm doing my exams. It's okay. And it'll be fine because Console Craft won't affect Willow in any way. So it's fine. I don't need to know any of this stuff. And then the month ended, and I looked at the announcement, and I was like, oh, fuck. I've got a lot to catch up on.
God.
So
with Console Craft and talking to people about Console Craft is they fall in one of those two categories of either I was checked out during Console Craft or I was checked way too in and spread myself far too thin. It feels like everybody falls under one of those two categories, and frankly, it makes me very scared about Brick by Brick. But everybody had a really good time at the end of Console Craft. Console Craft was fun from minute one until the end. It was a fun, good time every minute that I at least for me when I was actively playing the game. And it feels like that's the consensus is that like, man, that was really good. And honestly, I think it's the short-term planned nature of it. I won't lie to you. I don't think I as somebody in a long-form SMP, it might be antithetical of me to say this. I don't think the future of Minecraft content creation is in here's a server that's going to be up for a year, play on it whenever you want, I guess.
Oh no, I completely agree. Yeah.
Like I think the future is in something like life series and in like short term, here's a world of a small size, here are blocks of time where everybody's going to be on, and or it's 24/7 but it's only for a month. I feel like those are definitely the way to go, or a couple months even. I feel like Console Craft had a lot of very good story cohesion while also maintaining a lot of that Willow branded chaos.
Yes.
And I feel like that's where the future's at, personally. I don't know.
I completely agree. Yes, I can agree more. This is like I'm sorry to all the SMP owners who I'm very good friends with, but I think SMPs are like not going to grow anyone anymore. Like I think we've reached that like kind of critical mass point where I don't think SMPs are worth doing if that's what you want to do. If you want to grow as a creator, I don't think SMPs are the way. I think SMPs are really good for meeting people. There's so many talented people in SMPs, and they're really fun. But I don't think they have the same energy as they did before. Like, if it's a long form SMP, the first like 4 months are amazing. They're awesome. Everyone's on all the time. Everyone's building. All this like lore is fresh, and then it gets harder and harder and harder to keep it going. Which I will say that's one of the reasons I love Willows, because the admins are so good at keeping it going. Like season 1 lasted for like a year and a half, and pretty much all the members turned up for the finale still, which is crazy. But I think events like Campground Despair, events like Rats SMP, events like I don't know, like even just like actual events, like Minecraft events. I think
Mhm.
that is where that kind of like concentrated excitement, that kind of like concentrated hype, and that kind of knowledge that this is going to end, this isn't forever, so we got to put everything into it every day that we can. I think that energy is where innovation's going to happen, and that's where growth is going to happen. I really believe that, like, if you want to do anything Minecraft related, like if you're thinking of making any projects, you should do a limited time project, even if it's like lore, not lore, whatever. I think that should be where your focus goes. I really do believe that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. That's just where the future is currently, in my opinion as well. I don't know, I hold a lot of fondness for those shorter projects. I've genuinely considered like not that like I mean I am considering doing a lore thing, but that's separate from this ideal that I've had in my brain for a while of just this like nebulous sort of if I were to run a event, if I were to run an like a Minecraft related content thing, how would I do it? And my current template is 10 to 15 people I know who would be on like on an insanely regular basis who would give it their time and energy and really think about it and under a very under like a very honor system set of just like hey here's the world we're not gonna like base millions of blocks from each other, let's not do that, let's be
Yeah,
neighbors, let's have a time and we'll do it for maybe a couple months, you know.
yeah, yeah. I
Mhm.
think the life series is such like a perfect example of like how I would make a project and how I would do projects. Like they all know each other previously, they're all good friends already, and it's a concentrated certain amount of time, and you get to like meet new people still that you wouldn't normally talk to, but you all know that this is like a safe space and like you have this amount of time to make content, so you just gotta go for it. I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's a really
Yeah.
good way of doing it.
It's also
I
just
do think
finding a group of
it's
people you have charisma with. Sorry, Jed. It's also just finding people you have charisma with, in my opinion. And it just the life stuff. The life series was well ahead of that curve. Like I didn't see
Mm.
that was the future until after the first life series started, and I was like, man, that's where it's gonna go.
Oh
That's
yeah,
where we're headed. You know. But the fact that Grian saw that, and the fact that the rest of the like hermits and folks that were participating in the life series saw that so far ahead just shows that like the ruling class of like top Minecraft creators are there for a reason. They're there for a reason, dude. Those guys know
the
exactly what they're
bourgeoisie.
doing and they study it. Yeah.
yeah.
We don't need to
The
break out the
Minecraft
guillotines yet. They are
bourgeoisie.
earning their keep as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah.
you were saying, Jed?
Oh, I do think it is unfortunate that we're moving towards more like shorter series because I love Minecraft because I like grind games. As you can tell by Schematico, I love farming and just doing shit like that. So it's like, oh, you know, on Console Craft though, I was able to get a little bit of it, but there was a lot of just like, man, I really don't. I'm not gonna bother making an iron farm. We aren't gonna need that much iron within a month. But
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
That's fair.
I
No,
really do love that sort of thing.
you always gotta have like your own like side project. Like me and Jam are currently doing a series which is just like we picked a random mod pack on the mod page and we're just playing it whenever we feel like. You gotta have that
Hmm.
on the side. You can't just have the short intense bursts. You gotta have like a long grind going. But
Yeah.
I've watching like someone was doing like a hardcore stream recently. I don't know how people do those like big hardcore worlds. I don't understand. They do like thousands of days of
Yeah.
like I just don't get it, man. I could not do that. That's like
Vox and
the
I have
complete
tried a
polar opposite.
couple that we just die instantly. It's not even worth it. Like
I'm thinking
within the
I have
first
this
10 days.
No, you guys are great at the game. What do you mean?
No, we're the worst. We're genuinely the worst.
Check the death logs when I'm online.
Oh god.
Jed, I think the last stream wasn't even an exception. We were doing a thing where where we were like trying to like get a Jed respawn machine to make it look like when Jed respawns from a bed, the bed is invisible in the wall and it looks like a machine has just assembled a
Oh,
new
that's
Jed
cool.
body and like shoved him out the door. Um with like one of the like geyser things that we have in the mod pack.
Yeah.
And recently I was like, "Oh yeah, you know, that's great," but I was thinking about it after that stream of like, yeah, no, Jed's death log is like that didn't even really put a dent in it. He died like 50 times to make sure that worked, and that wasn't even an average amount of times to die per stream.
How many times I've died just doing Schematico, like going up Schematico and then missing something and going, oh shit. Like, it's disastrous. I'm such a bad player.
We have, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'd be able to find it for you, Abenz, but we have this, there was this tweet that was going around a few months ago. I'm sure I could dig it up, of this like workplace safety video where they're doing shit like hammering their thumb with a hammer, like completely missing the nail, like to just like, here are all the things you don't want to do, like walking into like a 6-foot deep hole without watching where you're going while carrying heavy equipment, and like a video of like a guy like with a dolly of heavy equipment pushing it out of a truck and then going flying, and the caption is just off to work at the idiot factory, and I just like, that's become part of our vocabulary because of Schematico and because of the stupid shit that happens over there. It's just like, that's the idiot factory. Oh, Jed found it. There we go. It's in the group chat. But it's really absurd.
It reminds me of like, you know, those like Fallout videos, like Fallout 4 has those like instructionary videos on like safety.
Yeah. And we put like a play on it where it's like, yeah, we have hard hats, but like the main hazards here are like an open pool of lava and shit.
There's no getting around that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no hard hat that could protect you from that.
It's funnier when you realize that like Canon Jed has like 14 doctorates or something and is still like
like 8 doctorates. And well, yeah, the way that I see it is that he just respawns, so he doesn't really give a shit about like losing a body. That's you know, just recycle it.
Workplace safety issue. But no, yeah, working on Schematico is a lot of fun. How did we get here?
We got here because we were talking about short form, and then I was saying the problem with short form is that you can't do long form, like big builds like that.
Right, you can't grind out a big build. Right. No, yeah, but like I think as an audience member, I think I like watching people do big builds in YouTube videos. I'm not sure I like watching someone build a massive thing on stream, personally. It doesn't really appeal. Personally, I've considered like a big goal of mine someday is to meld those two worlds and be able to go on stream, like, you know how like cooking shows where they're like, okay, and now that you've got this all mixed and in the baking tray, you're gonna want to put it in the oven for 6 hours at 350 and just let it slow bake. But I've got another one here that we already did that with, so we can move the fuck on with the show. I've considered doing that on stream a couple times where it's just like, okay, now we need this. Anyway, here's this thing I built off camera. I'm going to play you, the next 5 minutes of the stream are not going to be live. This is going to be a time lapse of me assembling the thing, so you can at least feel like you were there. Yeah. Like, I really want to meld those two worlds so badly, but it's like, it's a very big accomplishment. Yeah, it's a very big thing like
Hermitcraft.
Yeah.
I think that's the type of style that they aim for.
Yeah, that's really just what I'm aiming at in terms of stuff. It's just like, what if you did something that felt like a Hermitcraft video, but it was a live thing that was like actively being produced, and it's just like putting that much production into something while it's happening. Hell, I forget to mute my mic during Be Right Backs sometimes. Dude, it's like, I don't know that I'm up to the task, but I'm trying.
You're trying real hard, man, but those plate noises do come through, Vox, when you're macking down on your BRBs. But
I'm not macking down on my BRBs. I never eat during my BRBs.
That's a lie.
Potato chip. I might have like a potato chip, but that's not gonna like come through my mic.
Dude, a potato chip is like the absolute thing that will come through your mic.
But I'm sitting. What I'm saying is I'm sitting feet from my microphone, and it's got a big red and white light on it that's white when it's unmuted and red when it's muted. I can tell when I'm at my desk. It's just like sometimes I forget to mute it and I walk away, and it's just unmuted sitting there.
Yeah.
There's no audio.
Oh man.
But like, man, you know.
Do you have any technical difficulties like this, Abenz? Do you have any moments on stream where you're like, oh shit, I should fix that?
The amount. So I have like shortcuts to change scenes on OBS. They're all on like my numpad, and the amount of times I've pressed the wrong one and I just looked away from OBS is pretty bad. I'm just like, I'll be on like the Just Chatting stream talking about the game, and it'll take like 20 minutes for someone in chat to know, should you be like showing the game or something? I'll be like, oh fuck, I'll switch it over. But that's about it.
Dude,
that's about it.
Yeah, no,
Stream Deck is fantastic.
The Stream Deck is fantastic. I'm excited. Jed's getting a new Stream Deck because he's getting a new
I already
fancy...
have it.
He's got his new fancy microphone that he wants to plug into like a DAC, and he wanted to get like a Stream Deck that had like access to just like wire that straight in. And so in exchange, I think a Stream Deck is expensive, like far too expensive for what it is. When it's like, I would sooner like I've considered buying a numpad, like one of those keyboards that's literally just a numpad that is all macro keys. It's just a set of macro keys on a keyboard, because it's like, that's like $30. Why the fuck would I want a Stream Deck? You know?
Well,
but it's like,
Stream
there's
Deck
reason to have a Stream Deck. No, there's reason to have a Stream Deck over it, especially for somebody like me who has an Elgato branded mic and like uses like, I'm deep into the Elgato ecosystem at this point, and I don't mind it. They make good shit. But like, sometimes there are hardware failures, but like they go away quick. I think most of Elgato's problem is their software team, I'll say. The actual physical things that I have that are Elgato related work fine, but the software for them crashes occasionally, and that causes me great distress. Especially when it happens on stream. But no, I just like, I don't know. I see the value in a Stream Deck. I don't know that it's like $100 more worth of value. But Jed's getting a new one, and he's like, I got this old one, and I don't have a use for 2 fucking Stream Decks, so I'm gonna have me a Stream Deck pretty soon.
It's the small little one, but even that's worth it, because like just yesterday when we were streaming, or Vox was streaming, and I had made a joke because I was not there for most of his stream, and I showed up right at the end, and I was like, Vox, you should raid me. And he was like, you're not fucking live, dude. I'm not gonna raid you. And I pressed 2 buttons, and I'm live, dude. Just instantly.
Like,
and he did it.
He's got a macro on his Stream Deck that opens his like VTuber software, his like PNG Tuber software, and then OBS, and then also like does a bunch of other shit for him, and then he has a go live button, so he just fucking doot doot, and it's done.
I love that. Yeah, my partner Gina has the same thing. She has like a full Stream Deck. Every single button is bound, like for like literally anything that she could use. One of them is literally bound to open to like her favorite YouTuber's page and stuff like that.
That's so much fun.
I'm here with like my keypad on my keyboard, and every single button on this fucking keypad is bound to something, and I'm scared to press the wrong button, and my PC's gonna shut down or some shit.
There's always a duo like that. There's the one that has all the new gadgets, and then the one who kind of just deals with what they have equipment wise.
Yeah, no, and she doesn't even stream
because you're too fucking stubborn. You get too fucking stubborn.
Vox and I are definitely that duo, because I've got like 3 monitors and like a nice pair of headphones, and Vox is like, yeah, I'm rocking with the same mouse that I've had for God, I think I've had this since I was like 6. First on the computer, and I was like, what the fuck do you mean you had it since you're 6?
Like, I had a trackball mouse for the longest time, but on top of that, the monitor I'm using right now, I have one monitor. It's 27 inches.
What?
It's 27 inches. It's from like 2015, and it's been dropped like a year ago. I could have replaced it by now. I dropped it, and so it's got these like, the backlight in it is like a little off, and so like there are yellow dots, like yellow gradients in like a vignette around my screen. I still use it. I had the money just this month to replace it, and monitors were on sale because of Black Friday, and I could have replaced it. And I thought about it and went, my monitor still works. You know?
But
Vox and I are very different.
The only problem is when it finally breaks, I know when it's going to be. It's going to be at an insanely inopportune time for me. It's going to give out on me at random. On like an afternoon where I have like no money in my bank account to do anything about it. And I'm going to have to like scrimp and scramble to get a new one real quick as like a quick replacement.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just don't have.
How do you look at your chat? Do you have it like up on your phone or something?
No, I have. OBS has like a pop out, and I play my games, including Minecraft, in like a fucking window. I play it in a window that takes up maybe a fourth of my monitor.
Oh my gosh!
It's awful. Ridiculous. I know, right?
I have a screenshot somewhere.
I thought you were the put together one, Vox. I thought you were the one who had it all together.
No.
What the fuck?
I have like the funds behind things, like the podcast setup. I got fortunate enough to have
the
like
in-person podcast setup that we're
I actually just got in a lot of things. I got like Yeah, well, I'm moving to Florida, live with Vox, and
it's like moving to my home. Not even like near me. He's going to live in the same home as me. That way, when he shows up late for streams, I can jostle him out of bed.
Yeah, but like I'm very into the like this.
Me, my
if
husband,
I can make the tech,
and our weird fucked up son.
It's like a weird sitcom.
Yeah, no, exactly.
2.5 men.
2 and 3 halves of a man.
Yeah, 2 and 3 halves. I'm a very big guy. But like, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I'm very big on the setups being just like, this is what I do. I like to tinker with setups, and I like to make it like pristine and perfect. So I got like 2 XLR microphones, a couple of mic stands, pop filters, everything you would need for a setup, and Vox is like chilling at his desk. This is gonna be right behind him, Mind you. Thank you. Fuck, I'm dumb. Vox is gonna be sitting at his desk, and right behind him is gonna be the podcast setup. That's all like perfectly pristine setup with new shit, and Vox is like chilling at his desk. No.
See, this is my problem. The reason I don't have a bunch of nice new equipment is because I never want to dedicate the funds to it. I'm moving, and I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of furniture and shit anyway. I'm gonna be spending tens of thousands of dollars furnishing a home anyway. So my goal is kind of weasel a bunch of new cool equipment into those funds and like get a really nice desk. I'm gonna sit down. I've already sat down, like I've got it in my head, but I'm going to sit down in like Tinkercad or something and put together the perfect setup ergonomically for me, and then I'm gonna build it. The issue then will be, in a decade when I'm still using that setup and all the hardware is horribly out of date, then I'll be in the same exact spot. But I'll be brand new for a few years.
Christ.
The reason why my shit is out of date is just I'm just fucking broke. we have different issues.
Vox is broke as hell. Vox is broke as hell.
Oh, okay, cool.
Like I'm on the fucking poverty line for this shit, man. I had to save up to buy like a new keyboard for like $100, but I got a real nice one. It's fucking sick.
Living on that student budget. Let's do.
Yeah. But oh man, I do just it's weird because I'm less professional when it comes to my streaming and things like that. Like I don't really care. I just kind of do it, have fun, do it to hang out with people. But I'm very much so into like everything needs to be perfect. I like micromanaging hardware. Like I'm definitely a big hardware guy, but Christ, I don't know. I wish I could have Vox's energy for it because I feel like I could put it to good use, but I just do not. I just do not have as much heart as Vox does.
The driving line is just that, like, the content needs to be made, no matter what hardware I have. And if I can make it for $5 and make it look like I used like $1,000 worth of equipment to do it, I'm gonna do it that way every time, even if it means that I have to suffer for the art a little bit. You know.
I love doing that, trying to squeeze every little drip of quality out of like 10 quid web camera or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's absolutely the way to go. It's phenomenal. I'm sure I would have a much easier time just buying an expensive thing that does it all for me. But like that like looks nice out of the box, but I don't mind doing the extra work, you know? I really don't mind it. In fact, I love to tinker with that kind of stuff. I love to fiddle around and see what I can make fucking like a shit box. I used to do this when I was a child. Like when I was like a teenager, I used to like go down to the thrift store and buy like a $10 shitty like desktop computer from the 90s and just fuck about with it. Plug it in, hook it up, fuck about, and then like when I'm done with it, it's like, oh well, that was $10. Fucking put it in a closet somewhere and forget about it. You know?
Yeah. I wish I could be a tech review channel, is what I've settled upon. Of just like, if I could have just a bunch of random tech and just fuck around with it and have a good time, I would be in heaven, dude. If I could be Linus Tech Tips, I would be fucking set. I don't know.
I could be Linus Tech Tips. I don't want to be Linus Tech Tips.
Except for that time that he said that he like
Except for
said
that
the
time
R
that he said
slur
he was
often,
slinging the hard R.
Or the hard R. Yeah.
Huh?
There was a podcast clip from Linus Tech Tips where he was like, yeah, no, it's not okay to say now, and it wasn't okay to say then. It doesn't make it okay to say now. Like, it doesn't make it okay at all that I said it. But back in the day, people were slinging hard R's no problem. I don't really see like where that turnaround happened. And his co-host was like, no, man. no, what are you talking about? And he goes, you know, you're on the playground with your friends in elementary school and you drop a hard R every now and again. It happens. And like his co-host was like, no, man, what are you saying to me? Do you mean like the N-word? Because that's what hard R means. And he goes, no, I mean like the R slur, you know? And it's like, oh, okay, that's a different thing.
Oh my
That's a
gosh.
completely different thing.
That's a very different thing, Linus.
Company saved.
He's so, like, everybody in the podcast booth was just, like,
it got
all,
so
like,
quiet. It's a
white-faced,
phenomenal
quiet, like, oh, God.
Like, that is an all-timer, you're a fucking idiot moment.
He is kind of, like, I don't know, innocent in that sense of just, like, he was very just like, what? What's wrong?
What did I say? You know?
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
man, but still, like, with the exception of that, I'd love to be Linus Tech Tips.
Beyond saying the hard R, I think I'd be Linus Tech Tips.
Yeah, fuck it. Oh, man.
Oh, man, you know what? Oh, but no,
I mean, it's one of those things where, like,
something.
it's one of those things where, like, that type of content is, like, quite easy to just, like, start and just, like, see if you actually enjoy doing it. Just, like, obviously, because it's fucking 2024, you should probably start on TikTok, but, like, just doing, like, one or two and seeing, like, oh, is this, like, do I actually enjoy this, or is this just, like, a fantasy that I have in my head? This is, like, the perfect time where, like, you don't really, like, you're not, like, big on TikTok, you don't have, like, big accounts or whatever. You can just, like, fuck about and just, like, try shit and just, like, see if you actually enjoy doing this shit. Because, like, editing a fucking
like,
TikTok of, like...
headphones, now's the time.
Yeah,
Now's
exactly.
the time.
Like, literally just, like, take bits of your setup and then just, like, pretend like you're reviewing them for the first time ever. And just, like, see if you enjoy it. Why not? It'd be funny. And you can, like, make it into, like, a comedy bit as well. Like, I'm sure there's shit you can do with it.
Look at this brand new monitor and it's got like fucking scuffs
there's, like,
in it.
dust all over it. Yeah.
But there's also a charm. There's also a charm in, like, the truth of it of, like, this is a piece of equipment I have. I swear by it. I've had it for years. When this one dies, I will buy a new one. You know? Like the exact same model if possible. There's also a charm to that sort of review, so you could totally land that if you wanted to. Like, I think you could manage it just fine.
Yeah, and the amount of, like, sponsorships of, like gaming equipment on TikTok is insane. Like, I was stuck in a hole of, like, people reviewing keyboards and mice and stuff like that and being sponsored by, like, HyperX. I think HyperX must have spent, like, fucking millions of dollars just advertising on TikTok.
Oh god, I'm sure.
Dude, I get notifications all the time as somebody in the creator program. I get, like, 4 billion notifications all the time from TikTok, and they're like, hey, do you want to review this product? And it's like, no, this is
exactly.
You know? But, like, there's occasionally ones that aren't garbage, but the issue is I don't do product reviews. This isn't what my profile is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, like, there are things in there that if I did do product reviews, I'd try it, sure.
Yeah, fuck it, I'd give it a shot.
There's this guy on TikTok, and he's fucking done this genius fucking thing that, like, I thought about doing, but I was like, nah, I'd have to like get big first before I did that. It was just like kind of a back burner idea, if nothing else worked out. Where he goes, yeah, this is like dog shit I found on TikTok. Here's some headphones that TikTok swears are good. I got them on the TikTok shop. They gave them to me for free. Are they actually any good? I don't know. Legally, I have to review them. I don't have to give them a good review though. So I'm gonna tell you if this is like trash or not. You know?
Yeah, I like that. I don't know if you saw, but Ludwig just released a video recently of he basically just reviewed games that he'd been like offered a sponsorship for, and he turned down. And he reviewed each one like honestly.
Oh, I saw that.
How good he actually thought it was. It was a really good video. It's worth watching. But
it was pretty solid.
Same kind of vein.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh man.
I feel like there's this like. I feel like some people are loosey-goosey. It's the only thing that I'm still kind of conservative about when it comes to content creation is, and once I see somebody have a Raid Shadow Legends sponsorship, I'm kind of over them as a person. Of just like, get your bag,
Yeah?
I understand, but I don't think my morals would let me do that ever. I don't
Uno
think I could sell a
Mobile.
product. I don't think I like Uno, dude. Uno Mobile's actually alright. God damn it. I like Uno Mobile. It's a product I tried and enjoyed before I accepted that sponsorship. Because the Uno mobile app is literally just like the desktop app, but on mobile. But the thing about it was that, like, I don't take sponsorships for things that I don't personally enjoy. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I could. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it was like they sent it to me for free, and I'm like, again, like I legally have to talk about it, but I don't have to say good things because they can't buy good reviews typically. A lot of these companies aren't willing to outright. They can, it's legal, but they aren't willing to outright go, hey, if I send you this free product, you got to give us a good review. It's just kind of insinuated in the text of the thing that like, I'm gonna give you this thing, and you're going to review it, you know? And it's just like, you know, legally, you didn't say I had to give it a good review. There you go. You know?
Yeah, the issue with that is that, like, you're going to run into very quickly just like, oh, you're the guy who buys things and quit doing it. Yeah,
you're the guy who talks shit. Get out of here. You know? That's the thing is you get, like, blackballed from that kind of thing kind of quickly when, like, it's people who pay attention. That's why I think the guy doing it on TikTok is a fucking genius, because these TikTok shop, like, listers who, like, drop ship things, they don't double check ever the people that they're offering sponsorships to. It's just a bulk, hey, TikTok, I'm gonna pay you to take my thing and start pushing it at creators. You know, it doesn't matter who, just do it. You know, and then nobody on that chain of command really gives a shit about the product or the people reviewing it enough to double check either of them. And so, you know, you just get a fun little channel where a guy reviews garbage.
Yeah, dude, that's what we should do. We should go to a landfill and we should like
go to a landfill and review actual garbage.
That would be great, dude.
We could be like that guy
fridge with a rotten food in it.
Except you fucking like it's just like there's juice in the bottom of this garbage bag. I'll drink it for a million years. I'm gonna get every disease under the sun.
I'll film you doing it, Vox. You're welcome to it.
This is hypothetical. I'm not saying I would literally drink garbage juice for a million views. I'm just playing into this hypothetical.
Oh man,
please, I wouldn't.
I think you might.
I don't know. I'm a real victim. I'm a real victim of circumstance when it comes to that kind of thing. Not for like views, but like if somebody's like, I bet you won't fucking like do this, and it's like, no, I'm not gonna go over there and like this is why I'd be real good at Impractical Jokers, by the way. It's like, I bet you won't. I bet you won't tell that lady that you got a hernia just now. And it's like, I don't think I want to. And like, you wouldn't anyway. And it's like, well, now I'm gonna. Like, you told me I won't, and now I will. No, I totally will.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'll commit to a bit that nobody else has like gotten me to do. I'll do shit like eating playing cards and shit because it's just like shock factor. I don't know.
Yeah, Jed sits on his webcam every time we turn our webcams on, and like at random, I won't even notice it. My husband will be in the car and she'll, Jed, stop eating playing cards, and I'll look over and Jed's like macking down on a 3 of clubs over there for the bid.
Oh my god.
It's great. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for those bits. I'm just like, dude, there's somebody doing some shit, and nobody's referring to it.
I was just like, but that was when I was like 7. I didn't commit to those kind of bits long term.
Oh, I will, dude. Like Critical Role. Who's that guy who had the progressively bigger water bottle until he got to like a gas can?
Oh no, that's
and
funny.
The bit is just to like, well, the bit's just to do it until somebody acknowledges it.
Yeah, no, doing it until somebody acknowledges it is one thing, but you're eating cardstock, dude, and you've done it more than once.
I'm not eating
you might
it.
Just like it. You are. You swallow. I've seen you swallow.
No, I
at
don't.
Least once.
I don't. That's a bit.
At least once.
That's a bit. I've never swallowed a playing card.
You just don't want to admit that you ate a fucking playing card. Live
I will right now, but I currently, as of this moment, I haven't.
If this were a visual show, I would say eat a fucking playing card, but don't do it because it won't be interesting for us or the audience to listen to you eat a playing card.
What do you mean? The audio show won't be better with somebody like macking down on something that's inedible?
First of all, your noise cancellation would eat it entirely. This bit would not be worthwhile. Oh man.
But real quick, where did we get here?
Before we move too far, Abenz, I wanted to talk with you about that one time that me, you, and Jed did lore together on Willow, like a couple months ago, I think. It might have been just a month ago. I can't remember at this point. It wasn't long ago, though. Oh, no, it was in October. It was late October. It was Hero Brian.
Right, yeah. We were trying to...
Yeah. But I felt so bad coming out of the interaction. I thought it was good, but I felt so bad because I was like, oh, man, we kind of just, like, stole it, huh? We kind of just made it ours, and, like, Abenz got the pleasure of just sitting across the table and enjoying the show, you know? And I felt bad about it, because I was like, oh, man, because Abenz came here and made time specifically to do lore with us, and we kind of just like talked with him for a minute, and then like kind of moved into talking about Jed's 7 PhDs or whatever. Yeah.
No, that's the shit I love. I love that shit though. Like I was saying earlier, like I love being like the enabler, like the supporting like character who's happy to just let you guys do your thing because it's your stream. It's like your guys organize this thing. I just want to make it accessible for you guys and like lean into your content. Like for example, like I don't remember when it was, but like there was that huge gathering of people where like everyone was streaming at once. Was it like when Herobrine first arrived, or yeah, I don't remember. We were all like in Dark's castle, and everyone was talking, and I just came over to you guys, and we just started talking about like random shit.
Yeah, it was right when we were like doing the Herobrine's mansion thing, and I got like sent back, and then I wasn't allowed to go, and you got to tell me that like God ordained me to stay here.
Yeah, I just made it up on the spot. It was funny.
That was great because not only did like I've already been a fact of the universe, but not just that, but God themselves were like, no, you got to stay right here, dude.
Yeah, the gods.
You gave my character so much importance.
Because, well, your character's already very important. Because, like, again, if you go back in time too early, you're gonna break the whole fucking timeline. And so, it's gotta be done right.
Yeah. Oh man, and it's kind of been fun.
I fear between the time travel stuff and ensuring that has to happen a certain way, and also like godlike interference on multiple occasions. I fear the concept of free will does not exist in the Willow SMP universe. Like,
at least not for me.
A verifiable fact that that's not a thing, and that things are predestined to some extent.
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, no, actually, I might be the only one with free will since I broke the goddamn timeline doing free will. I fucking.
Or maybe you were supposed to break the timeline all along.
Maybe.
We know as, like, players who can metagame and know the entire lore at once that was going to happen whether you did that or not. You just kind of fed into it.
Yeah,
kind of worked out to be in the right place at the right time. And it can be argued that maybe some cosmic force decided, like, put Jed over here where he'll break the fucking universe. Actually, no, we did lore that Herobrine did that to you. Specifically,
that's
kill
true.
The future.
That's true. Damn, that's unfortunate.
I don't know, but there is a level of is free will a thing in Willow, but you know.
Oh yeah,
it's an
100%
that I have.
It led into one of my favorite lore moments of all time, where you just kept being called Jim by Herobrine. I was a big
dude.
fan of
It still haunts me to this day.
It's so good.
We did a whole bit. We did a whole bit. Where it turns out that everybody's been calling Jed Jim lately, because it was a pre-Herobrine bit, and then it was a Herobrine bit, and then it was like an extended bit beyond Herobrine, and the explanation for that was when Jed changed clothes. The reason it's continued for so long is because when Jed changed clothes into a Schematico branded lab coat, I kind of just gave him one out of the box, and the name tag on it said Jim, and he just never noticed.
Until then. That's good.
Yeah. So he's walking around with a name tag that says, "Hi, my name is Jim."
That's I love that. But,
oh man.
But no, I love Willow because it enables that kind of thing. It enables that kind of silly, stupid garbage so heavily.
Yeah, it's a good mix of like silliness and serious lore, and you can like separate the two quite nicely. Like that whole day I was doing like super serious lore, and I was having like all these deep conversations, and then I was just kind of like stood in that area, and I looked around, and I was like, I just want to do something that's not serious. I just walked over to you guys and started talking about like, I can't remember what it was, like Elon Musk or some shit.
Yeah, something like that.
This is exactly what I needed. I just needed a refresher. I just needed a break. This is great.
I fear that we've become like...
That's a role in this ecosystem of Willow at this point. Because that's what I hear from a lot of people, is that, like, I just come over to Schematico after, like, a long day of lore, and I need a fucking break to come, like, hang out and do lore, but do something silly. And so it's just, like, that's phenomenal. I love that we get to be that for people.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. I've been trying to do, like, in Wales' new server, Lockdown SMP. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
Yeah, so I'm trying to do more of like a light-hearted, very unserious character for like the first time ever, and it's actually really nice. I didn't realize how like refreshing it would feel to just like change the dynamic completely. I'm playing a guy called Colonel, who's like an ex-military, kind of like old dude who is like basically just like a Joe Rogan conspiracy theorist. He's just like he just goes on Reddit all the time and just reads conspiracy theories. He's like a little bit homophobic, a little bit racist, but in good faith. Like he's just like,
how are you a good fan homophobe? Wait a minute.
Homophobe.
Canonical homophobe. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh my god. Right.
love
I think
that.
Old, like paranoid, slightly like Alzheimer's-y old man. It's great. I'm a big fan.
Speaking of, as sort of a closing note, speaking of Willow lore, there's another Willow, semi-Willow related project, something that will probably have very, very little to do with Willow, I hope, called Brick by Brick, that Sebastian Bush is putting together. And I hope to follow your lead there when it comes to, like, with this thing you've just described about your lockdown character, where I haven't thought even a little bit about what we're doing lore-wise on that server. We're just gonna play. That's the end-all be-all there, is, like, these characters aren't at all gonna be related to our Willow characters, and thus it's just, we've been handed a free license to not plan anything and just play and enjoy the game and enjoy the lore and take it moment by moment. And I think we'll do that. You know?
Awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to promote. Just have a good time where you don't put too much pressure on it and just be yourself. I think that's where the best moments come from.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a great sentiment to wind us out on. Jed, you wanna get us going
on
an outro?
I'll get us going. Abenz, where can we find you?
I have a link tree with all my links on it. I'm sorry. I should make a card. Oh,
a link tree? You made a link tree? Yeah!
But he's planning to make a card. We'll have him soon. Jed, your team is only winning for the time being.
No, I'm a big Linktree enjoyer, I will say. But I am basically not using Twitter anymore because fuck Twitter, hate Elon Musk. So I'm on Blue Sky for any updates and stuff. And yeah, I'm hopefully going to be uploading more on my politics channel soon, my little politics TikTok channel. And hopefully we'll be editing.
He's a good faith homophobe there too.
Yeah. No, of course not.
No.
But oh yeah. Well, you can check us out in the description below. You can check out Vox's card in my link tree. I don't know why I said it like that. And when this episode comes out, you can also check even lower. We've got fucking socials for the podcast now. Hell yeah. That's down below.
Those
us
don't exist
too.
at the time of recording. Jed has just put himself up to do this.
They
shit
do. I've made it.
The next couple you made
I made it.
They exist
I made
already?
it.
Wow,
yeah, I made it partially through this episode. Yeah.
You've been doing that the whole episode? That's why you've been so quiet,
Partially.
you bastard. Oh,
I'm sorry.
This shit.
But nonetheless, we have them. They're down there. So you should go check that out. And yeah, you got any closing thoughts, Vox?
I have one. When I think about closing out this show today, right? With how important and how great of a show it's been, and how stressful of a day it's been for me, leading up to this show, which we didn't get a chance to talk about, and that's fine. One singular word comes to mind when I think about the experiences I've had here today and how to appropriately close them.
Got a king of hearts.
And that word is goodbye.